in February of this year, we bought our 2023 Chevy Bolt EUV. And we did a full review then. We were quite excited when we got it. But we wanted to do an update after having put over 10,000 miles on the car now. We're actually at 11,500 miles. It's just been so busy to have a chance to sit down and do this. But we wanted to share our impressions now after having lived with the car for a while.
Today, we have pros, cons, and a few surprises to share with you, things that we found out about our Chevy Bolt EUV.
And at the end, we'll come back and we'll do a summary. Would we do it again? Do we still like the car? Well, join us for this forward journey and you'll find out. One of the pros that we like about the Chevy Bolt has been the amount of space and the usable area for really what is a small car. A couple times a week I volunteer for Meals on Wheels, and so I've got to load up a whole bunch of meals in the back, and I really appreciate the space I've got in here. When I fold these two seats down, I've really got a lot of room in here, and yet it's still comfortable for 4 adults with the seats up and room for some luggage. So we've been real pleased with the space of the Bolt and just the size of this car.
One of the other pros that I have for this car is how quickly it accelerates. In 2010, we owned a Toyota Prius, and it was a hybrid, and it did not have any power at all when you pulled onto the highway. But in just a minute, I'm going to show you that this one's got power.
We had to fight over who got to do the acceleration part of our pros, and Janine suggested she really wanted to be the one that got to put her foot into it.
Because so. I don't like any cars that are gutless. Okay, here we go. What are you laughing at? Because I don't know how to do it? There, we made it to 68 pretty quick.
One of the videos we're going to try to tee up here is a race between the Bolt and our Corvette. I think the Corvette will still win, but you know what? It's surprisingly closer than you think.
This car has some get up and go. One
of the pros that we really like about the Bolt has been the ability to charge at home. So this is a level 2 charger. If you had a chance to see our initial review of the Bolt, you'll see that at the time we bought in February of 2023, GM had a program out that they would pay up to $1,200 to get a 50 amp outlet installed in your garage, which we took advantage of. In our case, it was less than $1,200, so it was free. We ended up getting a level 2 charger installed, and every time when I come home, I just plug in. And I never have to stop at a gas station. The car always has easily much more than I need for a full day's use, charged up every day. And that's been a real pro. I like that. Now, the other thing is, it's been very economical as well. Our monthly electric bill has increased about $30 a month since we've had the electric vehicle. So that's compared to much more than that a month per gas we were spending even on our economical small little Chevy Spark.
One of the reasons we bought this Chevy Bolt EUV is because we wanted to be more environmentally conscious.
One of the advantages, obviously, of an electric vehicle is that you reduce greenhouse gases. And that was important to us when we wanted to get into an electric vehicle. Every month I get a report from the GM OnStar Diagnostics, and it tells us how much we've saved in terms of gallons of gas avoided and the amount of carbon CO2 that has been reduced by the driving we did. So I'll put up last month's report here on the screen. Last month we drove 1,800 miles. And it estimated we saved and avoided 1,500 pounds of greenhouse gases just in this last month alone. And that really is one of the main reasons why electric vehicles make so much sense and are truly the direction that we think is going to catch on.
One of the cons that we found is the challenge of getting a long range in colder weather. Cold weather really cuts the range down, and there's such a difference between 42 and 22 degrees outside Fahrenheit.
Range is always a big consideration when choosing an electric vehicle, and you can see across our 11,500 miles, we've averaged 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. And the Bolt EUV has a 65 kilowatt hour battery, which means our average over the life of owning the car has been a range of about 240 miles on a full charge. It encompasses weather between February and December, so we've got both warm and cold in that 240 mile average. Now in this quick screen capture I did, you can see it was a really short trip, 2.4 miles, and the temperature was 43 degrees. And you can see here 31% of the battery use went to heating the car.
Well, one of the things that is definitely a con about the Chevy Bolt EUV is that when you're at one of the rapid chargers, a DC fast charger, sometimes called a level 3 charger, particularly for a road trip, if you need to recharge quickly, the Bolt is slow at fast charging. Kind of a paradox, I know. It charges at a maximum of 54 kilowatts an hour. It takes us about an hour to go from 16 or so percent battery up to 80% again. Now, that's fine because for us, we use this on road trips infrequently. We've been to Minneapolis with it, about 250 miles. We've been to Omaha, Nebraska and back, which is about 240 miles round trip, and we've taken it all the way to Chicago, 300 miles, and we've taken it to Madison, about 250 miles. So we have road tripped in this car. It takes some time. You have to allow longer stops. There are several more expensive EVs on the market that charge a lot faster than the Chevy Bolt. Our son has got a Genesis GV60, and he can recharge in about 15 minutes compared to our 1 hour time frame at one of these fast chargers. So that's definitely a con. It's a trade-off for the entry-level price of the Chevy Bolt. But if you're on long road trips frequently, you might consider a different model of EV. Another thing that is a con is that you've got to understand and be willing to accept that we're still kind of on the front edge of EV adaptation here in the United States. And so one thing that we've come to learn is each time we stop at one of these public fast charging networks, they're often on different systems. So I've got several different apps on my phone in order to be able to use whichever system we're at. This one is here in Iowa, Mid-American Energy, but it's actually a Shell Recharge app that we use. We've used EV Go, we've used Electrify America, we've used several different ones. The other thing that I've often found too is a lot of times these card readers at the public charging sites don't work. And so you need to go ahead and authenticate on the app and use the charging mechanism, your card that you've entered into that particular app to use. It all works fine, but it does take a milligram of patience each time. And if you're in a hurry and are frustrated or aren't willing to kind of parse through some apps on your phone, that can be a challenge. And just know going into it yet, we're still kind of on that early edge of adaptation here. Another surprise that we really like has been a lot of the features. For an entry-level Chevy, we really like some of the luxury features that the car has.
I really like the rear view mirror that always shows you what's behind you.
The rear view mirror camera. Yep.
The rear view mirror camera. And I also love the heated steering wheel.
And I like the heated and cooled seats. So we've really kind of enjoyed those, plus the 360-degree view. Those have been great.
So, we've bought a lot of cars through our lives. Would you buy the Chevy Bolt EUV again?
Absolutely. We love it. With the combination of pros and cons, overwhelmingly, the pros outweigh the cons. And it's really been a perfect car for us. We love the fact that we're trying to do our little bit to reduce greenhouse gases. And at the same time, it's really been an enjoyable car to drive around the city. And we've increased our patience on the long road trips when we've taken it on road trips. And even that's worked out okay. So yeah, we'd do it again.
We sure would.